moving on, President Prabowo Subianto's food self-sufficiency program has been running well as indicated by the increase in food production, especially rice and corn in just recent months.
The Food Self-Sufficiency Program launched by President Prabowo Subianto has shown a good progress in less than a year of his administration, particularly in rice, corn, and salt by the end of 2025. Rice and corn production has increased significantly, especially in food production hubs in Java. But President Prabowo wants all provinces in Indonesia to achieve food self-sufficiency, not only nationally but also regionally. In order to ensure food security, each region must be able to meet its own food needs to reduce logistics problems because as an archipelagic country, transportation problems often hamper delivery from one region to another. Based on data published by the Central Statistics Agency, rice production from January to June 2025 reached 18.76 million tons year-on-year. Meanwhile, the rice consumption in the first 6 months of 2025 totaled 15.43 million tons, resulting in a surplus of 3.33 million tons. Compared to the previous year, the surplus increased by 128.08% or 1.87 million tons from the 2025 surplus of 1.46 million tons. Minister of Agriculture Andi Amran Sulaiman said that the government's rice reserves managed by State Logistics Agency or Bulog reached more than 3.7 million tons in mid-May 2025, the highest figure ever achieved by Indonesia in the last 57 years. Amran is confident that the target of rice self-sufficiency, which was originally targeted to be realized in the 4th year of President Prabowo's administration, can be achieved faster, namely in the 3rd year. In fact, Indonesia has stopped rice imports this year. In addition to increased production, BP also recorded improvements in farmers' incomes, as reflected in the increase in the Farmers' Exchange Rate (NTP) of 121.15 points in May. Compared to April 2025, NTP is an indicator of farmers' welfare that reflects their purchasing power for goods and services. President Prabowo is also optimistic that Indonesia will no longer need to import corn. In fact, Indonesia has begun to export corn to Malaysia from Bengkayang Regency, West Kalimantan, with the first shipment being officially launched by President Prabowo in early June this year. Corn producers from Bengkayang have received a request from Malaysia for 20,000 tons, which will be delivered in 4 stages. In his speech, Prabowo said Indonesia should no longer need to import corn from other countries by 2026, expressing optimism that the nation would achieve maize self-sufficiency even sooner. According to BPS, domestic maize production increased by 2.98% last year to 15.21 million tons compared to the previous year. Meanwhile, BPS estimates that corn production will increase by 8.16% from 10.84 million tons during the January to August period. Food production, especially rice and corn, is expected to continue to increase in the future, in line with the government's plan to continue to increase the area of agricultural land and provide more incentives such as subsidized fertilizers. And of course, we hope that even though there is an increase in production, the government must continue to maintain prices until they fall so that the increase in production can also improve the welfare of farmers.
Well, on to our dialogue for today. The Food Self-Sufficiency Program, launched by President Prabowo Subianto last year, has shown good progress in less than a year of his administration. So we have today our guest, Professor Dwi Andreas Santosa from Bogor Agriculture University, or IPB, and we will discuss the opportunity as well as the challenges of the government's Food Self-Sufficiency Program. Welcome, Professor Dwi, to Economic Outlook again.
Yeah, thank you very
We're
much.
happy to have you here.
Yes.
Now, Indonesia is making a significant strides towards the food self-sufficiency program, as have been promised by President Prabowo Subianto before. Now, from your opinion, do you think that this self-sufficiency in rice and corn production has been as successful as what the production, the government has claimed so far?
Okay, I think comparing the rice and corn production this year with the last years I think it's not right. Because the last year, the rice production, for example, is the lowest since 20 years. the lowest one. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. We should compare the years with similar condition. For example, with 2022. In 2022, rice production during the same period, from January to June, is around 18.4 million tons from January to June. And the differences between 2025 in the same period with 2022 is only 200,000 tons. And the condition is almost similar because the rice production during the times is also, we have La Nina condition as well as this year's La Nina condition.
Okay.
It means we should compare between the years that the similar condition. We cannot compare, for example, with the last year that I said. The last year we have impact of El Nino, and then decrease the production, and then the production of the last years is the lowest in the 20 years.
All right. So, well, the weather is definitely a big factor when it comes to food production here. The rice reserves, however, have reached a new record of 3.7 million tons in May. And this, according to the statistics, is actually the highest level since 1969. What are the factors that make our rice reserves so high, Professor?
Yeah, of course, the first one is the remaining stock, remaining imported rice stock for the last year is around 1.7 million tons, the remaining rice stock. And then the second one, of course, the government decision to increase purchasing rice from the farmer. We have 3 times increasing of rice purchasing price from the government. First one in 2023, the purchasing rice price increase from 4,200 to 5,000, and then in 2024 from 5,000 to 6,000, and then in this year, and the government increased again the price of rice. Purchasing price from the government from 6,000 to 6,500. And this way, the farmer is really happy actually, because the rice price at the farmer level increased. And then the other one is the president instruction to buy rice at all quality. And this one playing a very, very important role while the stock of rice of bullock increase very, very high right now.
So in your opinion, overall, what do you think of President Prabowo's decision so far in terms of his self-sufficiency for food program?
If we talk about food self-sufficiency, I think it's not too appropriate, because if we talk about food, at least in our data we have 12 food commodity that the import is still very, very high, and even increase during 10 years. For example, import of 12 commodity, food commodity, increased from 22 million tons in 2014. And in the last year, in 2024, during only 10 years, increased from 22 to 34 million tons. You can imagine.
Huge number.
Yeah, huge number. During only 10 years, and the increase of this food, food commodity, yeah, more than 10 million tons. It's really very high. And that's why if we talk about food self-sufficiency, it is not appropriate. If we talk about rice self-sufficiency, it's okay. And this year, of course, we don't need to import rice because the rice production is increased. Although, in my opinion, the increasing of rice production have to be compared with the years where the condition is similar with this 2025.
To make it a fair comparison.
Yes, fair comparison.
All right. So, although on paper everything seems like the statistics are good for Indonesia's food self-sufficiency, what are the factors that you think we need to be cautious of, and what do you think the government should do for the future?
Okay, the rice production influenced by three main factors. First one is climate phenomena. Climate phenomena. If, for example, in this year, in the year we have El Nino, for example. El Nino is dry season, and then the rain is very low. If we have El Nino, the rice production will be decreased. In all, I have data about around 40 years, data of rice production for 40 years, and then if we have El Nino, and then the rice production will go down, and then if we have La Nina, something like in 2025, or a dry season, but the rain still a lot, something like that. And then if something happen, and then the rice production will increase. And this one is the most important factor that influence the rice production, that will have effect on rice production. And the second one is pest attack. Pest attack. If we try to increase the rice production and then try to planting rice continuously, and then will have impact on the next year, for example. And then that's why we should be aware in the next year. It could be the pest attack will be increased in the next year. And the pest attack is really very will have a very impact on rice production, because for example in 2011 the rice production go down more than 5% because of pest attack, and then again in 2017 the pest attack also damage the rice production, and then go down more than 6%. Something like that. Although the years before the rice production increased very high. But after that, in 2017, although the climate is similar, is no La Nina or no El Nino, but the rice production was going down. Yes.
Okay. So, in terms of the rice commodity, Professor, you have mentioned that we are pretty safe now. But we have all the other 11 commodities that we need to pay attention on. How do we press on the imports to make sure that we can achieve what our president wants to have, this self-sufficiency for Indonesia?
Yes, food self-sufficiency is for me is not possible because, as you know, in the last year we imported 34 million tons of food commodity from other countries. For example, right now we imported wheat from another country, from Australia and also from America and other countries. We imported 12.3 million tons last year, and 100% of wheat have to be imported. And then not only wheat, for example, we imported soybean. Soybean last year we imported 8.5 million ton of soybean. Not only grain, but also meal, soybean meal, and so on. And almost 100% of soybean have to be imported. We also imported garlic, for example, especially from China. And then 100% of garlic, around 600,000 ton of garlic have to be imported. We imported also sugar from another country, especially from Thailand and also from Brazil. And also right now, Indonesia depends on sugar import from another country around 70%. How to cover this, everything, this all imported food from another country? And that's why I just suggested the goal of the government is, for example, self-sufficiency of certain commodity. For example, rice self-sufficiency. Yeah. It's okay. We can achieve rice self-sufficiency. Although sometimes it's only several years and then another year we have to import again. For example, this one in the last decade, for example, we have no import of rice from 4 years, from 2019 till 2022. 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And then we don't, at that time, we no import of rice. Yeah. But after that, in 2023, we import rice in a huge amount, around 3.06 million ton. And then in 2024, the last year, we import 4.5 million tons of rice. Okay. Then the highest one during the 25 years. This one, that's why, and this condition is same. For example, in 1984, we have rice self-sufficiency. And then the Indonesian government have awarded by FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. Yes. And then after that, in a few years, we had to be import rice again, in around 1 to 2 million ton per year. So
we need to be consistent here.
This rice self-sufficiency also not consistent, not continuous. In our experience in Indonesia. Yeah.
There's still much homework to be done for our government, but thank you so much, Professor Dwi Andreas Santosa from IPB, for coming here to Economic Outlook to share your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Lois.